I can't wait to show you this stuff. There are over 400 million people using ChatGPT every week. However, fewer than 10,000 businesses are advertising to them. That gap is the single biggest window of opportunity to grow a business since Google AdWords opened up in 2003. And right now, the business owners who don't know what I'm about to show you are paying up to 5 times more per click than they need to. By the end of this video, you'll know how to get your first ads live this week, plus the one number that OpenAI hides from you that decides whether you ever turn a profit. I'll even hand you the prompt I use to write the ads for you. And the whole thing hinges on this one secret number. Let me show you. Quick framing before I show you the dashboard, because this is the thing that causes most people to lose tens of thousands of dollars. OpenAI's recommended bid range on ChatGPT ads is $3 to $5 per click, but some of my clients are paying $2 per click. But why is this recommended range so high? I believe that OpenAI is throttling who gets into the auction, keeping it small on purpose so that it feels competitive on the bidder side when it really isn't. That makes it your window of opportunity. But it's a window only because OpenAI is choosing to leave it open. And what isn't going to be open for long, so let's get into how the platform actually works. On Google, somebody types a keyword versus on ChatGPT, somebody has a conversation. That's not a small difference. That's the entire game. When somebody types dog food into Google, you're bidding on the literal word. Versus when the same person goes on ChatGPT and asks, what's the best grain-free dog food for my senior Labrador with a sensitive stomach? You're not bidding on a keyword. You're bidding on the entire conversation, the context, the intent, the decision stage. ChatGPT's AI analyzes all of it and decides which ad is going to be most relevant. Here's what's the same. It's a click-by-click auction, and you are paying based on your maximum bid. When someone clicks, you pay, but you only pay when someone clicks. But unlike everywhere else, there's no keyword match types. There's no formula that you can hack. There's just one hidden number that determines whether you're going to win or lose. There's a number behind every ad on this platform that decides whether your ad ever even serves. OpenAI doesn't show it to you on the dashboard. They don't even mention it in their public documentation. OpenAI uses it as a gate. Score too low, and your ads don't just get expensive, they fail to serve at all. The platform suppresses you to protect the end user experience. That number is contextual relevance score, and it's the single most important number on the platform. Your CRS lands in one of 3 zones, and that's going to determine whether or not you even make any money. First, you've got the dumpster fire. This is where you have a CRS of 1 to 3. Your ads might serve, but the conversions that you are going to get are going to cost you a fortune. Like ridiculous, it's not worth it kind of money. This is where you're gonna lose thousands of dollars, you're gonna blame ChatGPT, and then you're gonna quit. This is where you go if you are treating ChatGPT ads like Google ads. Don't go there. In the middle, you got the trap. That's CRS 4 to 6. Things feel like they're kind of working, but it's like death by 1,000 cuts. You're kind of making money, kind of not really. It's not really washing its face. Your ROAS sucks. You do not want to be here. My entire job of this video is to try and keep you out of here, because there you're just treading water. Then you've got the promised land. CRS 7 to 8. You're probably getting CPCs between $2 and $3 per click. You're profitable from week 4. This is what the system that I'm teaching, that's where that puts you. Then you have the moat, CRS 9 and 10. This is the special place. People who built relevance first and scaled second. This is where your cost advantage compounds instead of getting pushed up in terms of costs. OpenAI's job is to push you up the curve and make you pay more, but this is where your advantage is going to compound, where everyone else is going to get pushed up this curve. And if you do this right, then you have a cost advantage long-term that is an asset to you, where your competitors can't even catch up to you if they tried. And here's the line that matters more than any of the others. Above this line, you are losing money on every single ad. Beneath this line, you are profitable. CRS is the one thing that is going to determine which side of this line you live on. It's not bid, it's not budget, it is CRS only. So how do you get below the line and stay there? 3 things have to align. Context hints are the only true targeting parameter on ChatGPT Ads. They describe the conversations that you want to show up in. ChatGPT uses them to figure out where to serve your ad. Comparing CRMs for a 20-person startup is a context hint. CRM software would be keyword thinking. Then the ads. The title, body, and image all have to map to what your context hints describe. If your context hints say switching from HubSpot and your ad says try our coaching program, your CRS for that context is basically 0 and the platform won't even serve it. Then your landing page. When somebody clicks through, what they see has to deliver what your ad promised. Bounces feedback into CRS for similar conversations going forward. Get this wrong and you're gonna pay for the click and then train the platform to suppress you and charge you more next time. Maximizing CRS, the actual mechanics behind the Trinity, is the entire week 1 of my course. Stick around and I'll tell you about it more at the end. But for now, what you need to know is all of those 3 things need to align around one intent. And I call this a SIAG, a single intent ad group. One ad group, one buyer intent, context hints, ads, and landing page all pointing at the same thing. You want to start at 3 to 5 SIAGs per campaign. Because here's the math when you really get this going. If it costs you $15 worth of clicks to get a sale, and then every sale gets you $25 in profit, and you're able to do that 10,000 times per year, that is an entire business. Get it right, and you are doing very well, and you're able to scale. Get this wrong, and you're going to be out tens of thousands of dollars very quickly. Now that you know how OpenAI Ads works better than about 95% of everybody out there, let's get into the dashboard and get you set up. Go to ads.openai.com, sign in with your existing OpenAI account. Get signed up because this is not an instant process. Submit your business info, your website, and your payment method. Before we get to creating ads, first we need some structure. Let's create your first campaign. First, we're gonna set your objective, clicks or impressions. You always wanna pick clicks for your first campaign. CPM is how you can waste a ton of money if you run it first without clean conversion data. Whatever campaign naming convention you use, be consistent and clear. Yes, I know that it's tedious now, but it does pay off when you have like 12 campaigns running later on. For targeting, ChatGPT Ads currently serves to the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, but they are rolling out more, and soon you'll be able to target by region or down to a smaller area. You want to start broad and tighten only when you have data that is telling you to. You don't want to start with stacking 3 tiny geos and a small budget because you're going to starve the CRS of the signal that it needs to optimize. For budget, you want to choose daily instead of lifetime because you don't want to end up dumping like $1,000 in a day to an unproven campaign that you just don't have enough data for. You want to start at like $25, $35 a day. That's going to be enough for like 10 to maybe 15 clicks every day. For schedule, start today. End date, just leave it blank. I'm gonna pause it manually if you need to based on performance. Then hit save and continue. Next are ad groups. And in a second, we're gonna use my free prompt to generate context hints that are gonna be mapped directly to your ads. But first, we've got to touch on bid strategy. If you've ever run ads before, then you know that we wanna start with a low bid and gradually step it up. OpenAI recommends $3 to $5. I'm telling you, start at $2. Because at a lower bid, we're gonna get fewer impressions, but you're not gonna get stepped up as quickly. And the ones that you do get are gonna cost less and build CRS faster. Because remember, volume doesn't compound on ChatGPT Ads, relevance does. And after 7 to 10 days, if you're just not getting enough impressions, then bump it to $2.50, then $3, but never start high. Now let's get into the second piece of the CRS Trinity, your ads. For ad titles, ChatGPT will let you put up to 60 characters maximum. This is the most important piece of creative on the platform, so you want to use the same language that your buyer would use. If your context hint is switching from HubSpot, then your title might literally say, switch from HubSpot to your company's brand. For body copy, you have 100 characters maximum, which is super short. ChatGPT users, though, you have to remember they're mid-conversation with an AI, so they're analytical, they're evaluating. Specific numbers are going to beat vague claims. The most powerful CRM for growing businesses is going to be generic. It's going to die in the CRS. Versus built for SaaS teams of 5 to 50, free 14-day trial, no credit card. That is much more specific and probably wins. Images are required, so you're gonna want a clean product shot or maybe a branded graphic. transparent or just a simple flat background. Just don't use generic stock photos. They are so cringe and they're gonna tank your CTR and your CRS. Your favicon is gonna get automatically pulled from your ad account. So remember what I said at the start, do not change your favicon after the fact, because changing it after you launch is gonna trigger OpenAI to manually review your account. It's gonna lock you out for a few days. So get it right when you set it up, set it once and forget it. Your landing page URL is super important because it's what people are gonna click through to. You wanna match the ad, so switch from HubSpot, that better drop them on a page that allows them to switch from HubSpot, not sending them to like your homepage or something. Always launch at least 3 ad variants per ad group, because ChatGPT is rotating and learning which ad works, which doesn't, and establishing a CRS per ad. When I first looked at ChatGPT Ads, I was like, okay, so we have to have all of these context hints that have to be super clear and they have to map directly to the ads. And that seemed like, hey, this is gonna be a pretty hard thing, especially when we're doing this on repeat, trying and testing multiple ad groups against multiple angles, context hints galore. So I just built a prompt that makes it all just copy pastable. It generates all the context hints and matching ads for literally any business based on your offer and intent. Copy it, paste it into Claude or ChatGPT, whatever it is that you use, and you just fill in your details and you have a starting point in like 60 seconds. But remember, the prompt is a starting point. It is not a finish line. It's gonna write the first draft. You gotta edit it though. In the masterclass, you get a lot more detailed version that gets into conversational clustering, intent hierarchy, and automates a lot more using AI, but this should get you started for now. But one more thing before you launch, and by the way, skipping it is how most people are gonna lose their first $5,000. You gotta track what you paid for, because otherwise you are optimizing blind without conversion tracking. Set this up before you spend a single dollar. Now, I'm not gonna walk you through the pixel setup on YouTube because OpenAI's own documentation is gonna be better than anything that I could record, but the link's in the description. There's just 2 things that you do need to know before you install. First, you do not want to do the pixel alone. You got to do the conversions API too, because the pixel alone is just client side and it can lose up to 60% of your conversions because of either Apple devices that are blocking it or ad blockers that are stripping it out. Versus the conversions API is server side and it's going to pick up what the pixel misses. The hybrid gives the platform the cleanest signal and improves your CRS faster than either one on their own. Second, you got to define your conversion events before you turn on the pixel, because otherwise you're going to get a whole bunch of noise that the platform just can't use, and noise is going to hurt your CRS. Now that your campaign's live, here's the weekly cadence that's going to take you from launched to profitable. After you've launched, do not touch your campaign for at least 72 hours because the CRS needs to figure out what is going on and what is working, what is not working. But after 72 hours, that's when you get started with this weekly cadence. Monday's gonna be your performance review day, where you're checking on impressions, clicks, CTRs, conversions, and CPA. Tuesday is ad decision day. For every CAG that you have live, you wanna follow this decision tree. If it's profitable and scaling, then you might wanna kick the campaign budget up by up to 20% and potentially consider duplicating that campaign and expanding the context hints. If it's profitable but capped, then you wanna leave it alone and just let it continue. If it's unprofitable, you might want to reduce the budget or pause it and rebuild the creative. And if you have under 50 clicks, then you don't have enough data and you just want to wait another week. Wednesday is for creative testing. I want you to pause the worst performing ad variant in each CAG, write a new variant to test against the winner, always on a rolling basis. Thursday is for refining your context hints, and Friday is for landing page audit. And this is the one that most business owners actually skip. Audit the landing pages for your top 3 CAGs. Are they still converting? Has anything broken? Did the conversion rate drift week over week? Because a 5% drop in landing page conversion at $2 CPC is going to compound into thousands of dollars a year. And that is the loop. You want to repeat it every week, and within 30 to 60 days, you're going to have your CRS compounding, your costs declining, and a stable book of profitable CAGs. But there's 2 rules that you can never break. 1, you do not try and optimize and do all of this every single day, because that is going to break your campaigns. You're going to get a ton of noise in there, and it's just not going to work out very well. Second, don't change more than 1 variable per CAG per week. If you change your bid or your ad copy or your context hints, but never all three. So I just gave you about 95% of the value of the entire AI ads masterclass right here for free. The opportunity, the pitfalls, the math, the weekly cadence, and the things that nobody else understands that now you do, and you can run your entire stack off of just this alone if you want to. The remaining 5%, that's the operator edge. That is personalization. It's figuring out what your bid floor is by your specific vertical, because what works for your Shopify store isn't what is going to work for somebody else's D2C supplements brand, because your business isn't the same as any other. And that 5% means working together directly on the nuts and bolts of your individual business and situation. It's the landing page teardowns that we do live. It's against your actual offer. It's the CAG variants that double your CRS in the first 2 weeks for your specific buyer. It is getting that conversion API debugged when your pixel is dropping half of your conversions and you can't even figure out why. The final piece of the Trinity is your landing page, because when somebody clicks, what they see has to deliver on what your ad promised. Bounce rate is going to feed back into CRS for similar conversations going forward. Get this wrong and you pay for the click, and then you train the platform to suppress you next time. Unfortunately, for ChatGPT Ads purposes, your landing page is probably broken, because you probably built your landing page in like 2023 and it was designed for cold traffic, because Google and Meta are delivering leads at the top of your funnel, at the awareness stage. Your landing page meets them there, walks them through education, builds desire, drives the click, drives a sale. But ChatGPT doesn't deliver leads to the top of your funnel. It delivers them at the decision stage. So if they've already done awareness, interest, and consideration inside the chat, then your landing page needs to meet them where they're at. And a 2023 Google optimized landing page that asks them, what kind of dog do you have? When they literally already told ChatGPT that they have a senior black lab with a sensitive stomach, it just means that they're gonna bounce and your CRS is gonna take a huge hit. Your cost per click is gonna creep up and you think, oh, the ads aren't working. The ads are working. Your funnel is just broken though, and it starts with your landing page. This is the single biggest reason that business owners fail on ChatGPT Ads with otherwise correct setups. They blame the platform, but ChatGPT Ads isn't broken. They're just ignoring the fact that their funnel has now aged out and it needs to be fixed. And fixing it is one of the things that I do with the people who join me inside the AI Ads Masterclass. It's 4 weeks of structured material, the same architecture I just walked through, plus the advanced plays that get you to scale past $10,000 per month, plus weekly office hours, plus the optimization loop applied to your specific business in real time. We work through the campaigns together because there's 2 ways to approach this. Either you can go it alone, struggle your way through it, and try and like piece together over 1,000 different pieces of advice and hope that it works, and while wasting your window of opportunity while you burn through all of your ad budget. Or you can take the faster, easier path by working with people who know what success looks like and can get you there on the fast track. Now, I can't help everybody, but if you run an existing D2C e-commerce business or Shopify store and you are already making money and spending at least $5,000 a month running ads, and you realize that this is where the audience is at and you are committed to winning on ChatGPT Ads, then this masterclass is for you. The next cohort opens up pretty soon, but we do cap the number of seats at 30 so that the weekly office hours stay tight. And once it fills, it is waitlist only until the next cohort in a few months' time. The link is in the description, but in the meantime, go and run your campaign this week. Because remember, the window of opportunity is open, but it won't be for very long. See you in the next one.